So today we are going to see about these user events. So we'll see what these user events are and how do we handle the user events using our UiPath. So user events, as the name suggests, are the activities or the events that generally a user does. So you would either want the user to be notified or blocked or be make him aware that he's doing something which is not supposed to, or he's accessing some important information. So let us say, for an example, you have a particular folder on your system. Let me say this UiPath folder. I do not want anybody to click on this. Probably a single click. I just want to block and inform the user that, hi, you are not supposed to click on this UiPath. Okay. So how do you do that? So using a UiPath, you want to create a robot that monitors your complete system, and every time it finds out a click on this particular activity, it would not allow the person to do that. So for that, all I have to do is use this click trigger. So as the name suggests, this event will be triggered when there is a click that is happening. Okay, so there are two ways of using it. I would suggest people to use click user events from here. So let me say I want to use this click event, and I'll left click on this, and this will automatically create a sequence of this small sequence. So if you see, this is an on click, and inside that click you have this monitor events. So it says repeat forever true. So we will see what this is. What does this true or false mean, and where am I clicking? Just as how your UiPath identifies all other activities of your events. For click also, it uses the same selectors. So this is the selector that it is looking for, and what is the activity that it is looking for? That is your button left. So it's a mouse button, and I'm using my left click. Okay, so you have three options: left, right, and middle. So we'll see that. So for now, what will happen when I click here? So here, by default, it gives you get source element, and you don't need this. So what do? We will just comment this out, and let's say we want to inform the user, telling you have a message box, and you tell that sorry, you are not allowed to click on that folder. Please don't click. So this is a small activity message box that you display to the user when you want the user to click on that, right? So we are telling repeat forever is true, right? So let us run this. Okay, yes, my robot is up now. So I right click and refresh, nothing happens. So if you see, it is very simple. Just like you can do every other activity that you're doing, and it will never disturb you in any way. So I can just open my Google, search anything, and then close, open my file system, go to my any of the folders, do anything I want. You will not have a problem at all, right? But when I try to click on this, so if you see, it will directly give a message box telling, sorry, you're not allowed to click on that folder. Please don't click, right? So you click anywhere else, it will not mind. So you click here, you click here, 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 here. It's not a problem, right? You click on this. The moment you click, it will do this, right? So let us see what will happen if we use. So let us stop. So since we have used this repeat forever as true, until and unless you stop your robot, this is not going to stop. So this activity or checking of this activity, if there is a left click on that particular element, will run in background forever. So to stop that, you will have to use this stop, and then, right. So now what do you do? So you want to make, okay, so if you set this to false, what will happen? It will only look for one specific this thing. Okay, so once you set this false, right click, sorry, you run the robot. Okay, robot is up. You click anywhere, there's not a problem. You click here, you get a message box, you click on OK, and your robot stops. So once, if you set this value to false, it will only look for this activity to happen once. Until and unless this activity happens, your robot is going to wait. Okay, and now let us see what will happen if you do a right click. So if we use this right, Okay, so instead of using my left, now currently I'm using my right. Okay, so I save this and I run. I do not want user to right click on this, or I do not want him to get the right click options. So now I right click anywhere, there is no problem. I click on my demo, no problem. Right click on this, no problem. But when I right click on this, the moment you will get, sorry, you're not allowed to click on that folder, please don't click. Okay, you give an okay. Now what will happen? The right click options have come up, right? Oh. So let us use a forever true, so that this will help us to understand what is the problem there. So we right click anywhere else, there is no problem. Yes. So now you right click, you get this. Sorry, you're not allowed to click on that folder, please don't click. I give an okay. But that right click options have come up, right? Though there is a message box that is coming up, but this right click is come. Right click has come. So what do you see here? So here you can only warn the user that, so in this setup or this kind of monitor events programming, all you have to do is, so okay, let me do one thing. Let me use another message box. You are accessing a highly important folder. Please be cautious. Right? So now if you want the user to access that or allow him to do that activity, but excuse me, but you want the user to know that he is alarmed that oh, you are working on something which is really important. So right click on anywhere, there is no problem. But when I right click here, it will tell you are accessing a highly important folder. Please be cautious. You give this message box, they click on OK, and then you proceed with your regular action, right? So then you can delete or any of that stuff. Oh my god. Okay. So when you right click, you will get this, but you will get your options. So now what if you do not want the user to get the right click options at all? So in that case, what do? You stop your robot first. You have one specific activity or the property that tells block event. The moment you select that, it will not give you that right click options at all. So now let us comment this up and enable this. Okay, so here you are telling that, sorry, you're not able to access that, please don't click. Okay, your robot is up. You right click anywhere else, it works. You try to right click on this specific, else, sorry, you're not allowed to click on that folder, please don't click. You click on OK. So if you see, the right click has not happened at all, the options are not coming up. I right click on this, I get the options. But here, so if you see, earlier we had this message box coming up at any time, but the action was not happening. Sorry, the action was happening actually earlier. So when we were not using that block event, whatever event we did was actually going forward, right? So when I right click, it takes that activity happening, or it continues to implement the action that I have given to it, right? But if you use this block, it will stop from executing that specific activity, and it will implement whatever is there inside this. Okay, clear? So how do you change from left click to right click and middle click? You will just change it in your options. Okay, any doubts? Okay, if there are no doubts, then let's get moving. So similar to this, you have something called key press trigger. Okay, so let us go to your design and say on key press element. Okay, we have a message here. Explain it again. Okay, so this specific key, no, so basically these user events are all monitoring activities. Okay, so they monitor in the background what is happening on the screen, right? So they take charge of all the activities that is happening, and you can restrict the user to do some specific activity, or do not allow them to do some specific activity. So for example, let us consider you have this UiPath folder on your system, which is really important. So you're giving up your system to somebody and asking them not to touch this folder, right? But you want to know if somebody has touched this folder or not. Okay, so what can you do? So one way is you are not you can stop them from accessing this folder at all. Okay, so they will not be able to left click or right click on this. How do you do that? You use your monitor events and then select on click element, and then you select whatever the thing that you're looking for. Let me select this UiPath folder. So then you can set your click to button click to left or right. Okay, so let me say left click. So I've selected left here, so btn left and btn right. So this is the button left, so I've selected that, and I do not want the user, so let us use right. That will be easy to understand. So then you are telling block event. Okay, so this is one important property of this activity, where if you click, if you keep this block event checked, it will not allow the user, or it will not allow this activity to go forward. Okay, so let us see what is that, what does that mean. So when I run this folder, so when the robot is identifying this click trigger, what is it doing? The next moment it is going to this event handler. So if this is happening, then this activity will be executed, this sequence will be executed. Okay, so in this I'm just telling, sorry, you're not allowed to click on that folder, so this I'm just using a small message box. So now let us run this. So now your UiPath robot is running, so the small icon resembles that. So now, according to the code that I've written, I'm not supposed to right click on this. So I right click anywhere else, it will not give me a problem. I can do whatever activities that I want, right? I can edit or I can do anything. Okay, but when I try to right click on this, your robot will give you a message box itself. Sorry, you're not allowed to click on that folder. Please don't click. So in every, so because the repeat forever icon, item or the argument is set to true, this will keep running forever. So every time I right click on this, it will not allow me to do that at all. So I do not get right click options. So I right click on this, I get my options. I right click on this, I do not get my options. Okay. So that is how you can control the user's activities on your screen. So basically in real time, we do not use this message box. Instead, we will keep writing logs as how many times he has clicked it. Okay. So what, so let me show you how do we do that. So you will just tell a log message until it is a warning, until user clicked, right click on the UiPath folder. Okay, so let me say you are just giving your system for somebody to write an exam. Okay, and on your system you have this Google Chrome or this Chrome. So let me say I remove this from here. So you have this, okay, Internet Explorer also, let me remove. You do not want user to click left click or right click on this. So what do you do? Instead of selecting this UiPath, you will select this Google Chrome icon and you run this robot, and in the beginning you will just have a message box telling you are restricted from accessing UiPath folder, please do not touch. Okay, so let us save this and run. So now if you see, the moment the user logs in, your robot will start running and it will give you a message box in this way. You're restricted from accessing UiPath folder, please do not touch. Okay, but when I right click on this, I won't get the option at all. So if you see, it is blocking. I do not have a message box inside my event handler. Instead, I'm having a log message. So what does it happen? So user tries to click for 3 or 4 times, and if he finds out that this is blocked or something, he will not be able to right click. So he'll just probably do his work and then leave. And once when you come back to your code, or once the user has logged off, you can go and check your logs. If you see, these are the many times that user or currently now that I have right clicked on my UiPath folder. So using this, you can tell if the user is really not disciplined or is against the things that is supposed to and is doing it, and how many times has he tried to do that. You can have lots of coding inside your event handler. So this block will be executed every time user does something with as this. Okay, is that clear now? Okay, cool. So now let's move forward. So next thing that we'll see at is a key press trigger. Let me say Windows. Okay. So now what does this do? So earlier we were looking for a mouse activity, correct? So we were trying to see left click, right click and all that stuff. Now we are coming back to keyboards. So this is not just your click. Instead, I'm also restricting the user from using my keyboard. Okay. So now let me say I do not want the user to click on Windows button. Okay. So let me delete this and have a message box. You are restricted from using Windows icon, Windows options. Please don't use. So now when I save this, similar to your click on click events, here also you have this repeat forever true, and inside your key press trigger you have your block event. So I'm blocking it. So now let me save this and run. Okay, so this is our previous message box. Okay, there is some problem. Okay, what is the problem? Okay, save. System list view that it does not fall in the range. Okay, let me remove that. Argument exception. One second, let us go and check for something. Okay, let us redo this complete part. Probably there's a problem with this. So user events on click on the screen and say Windows. Give an OK. I block event and then I give a message box. Click on Windows options. Save this and run. Okay, this is weird. On it forever. So must be. Oh, okay. I don't have anything happening there. Okay, let me stop it. And then say Alt and Control and Windows. Delete this. Just a moment. Probably this is because if the key is not provided, it looks like there is a problem. Okay, Windows and escape. No. Control C probably. Okay, it works. Why was it not working earlier? Let us use this Windows and plus E, save, run. Okay. So as earlier we had a problem, this is happening with Windows key again. So basically when we, so okay, let us see other things now. So let us see Control C first. To just first give you the exact functioning of this and then tell you the problem with it. Okay. So just consider you do not want anybody to use Control C on any of the activity or any of the element. Okay, so let me say I have this folder which is demo one. I do not want people to use Control C on it. I don't want people to copy it. Okay, you cannot. Okay, you save this and now run. So you have this specific file. So I am using Control C now. Okay, Control plus C. It says you cannot copy that folder. But when I click Control C on this, it works. So when I copy, it's getting copied. But when I say Control C on this, it will not allow me to copy. So unlike just monitoring your right click or left click, here monitor key press will monitor your on-screen or your keyboard activities also. It will not allow you to do things which you are restricted from. So every time I press Control C on this, it will give me that message box, right? So what is the advantage of this? Here you can stop people from using Control C at all completely. So we will see how this Control C or right click will apply this to entire activities or not just this one specific element. So basically we will use it is essential or useful to use for only one specific item or element which is really important. So I cannot Control C on this, and alongside I can also block my right click also. So I can do both of those things together. So we'll see that later. So currently just understand how are we blocking your keyboard elements. Okay, so you will select that specific activity or icon. So what is that icon? So let me say you want, so till now we have seen demo one. Let us use on this UiPath folder. Okay, so you have this UiPath and then you are telling block this Control and C, right? So if you see, this is the control that I'm selecting and then this C, and I have selected this block event. So you block that, and then when you run this, so now the control will look for a Control C on this UI path, not on this demo one. So when I come here and I say Control C, there is no problem. I copy it and I paste it also, right? But when I right click on my UI path folder, I give Control C, you will not be able to copy that folder, right? So this is this is how you can block the keyboard events. Okay, so let me stop that and we'll see what are the different kind of keys that you have. So you can have your Alt Control and C and Shift Control and C and Windows Control and C. So you can use all of these special activities. And also, unlike just your Alt, Shift and Control, you have a range of options here. So you can block your add, back, break, caps, decimal, delete. So these are all the keys on the keyboard that you have, which you can specifically block. You can block your home, you can block your left, you can block your multiplying. If you have a numeric keypad, then these are all the numbers. These are numeric keypad numbers, and then you have your scroll, sleep, sub. So these are all small active keys that you have on your screen. So it is not just the Alt, Control, and Shift. You can use a combination of any of this. And if you want to use any of your regular alphabets, you can directly use that. So just as how we have used C here, I've just typed C and it works for Control C. So let me say I want to click on Control and V now. Okay. Probably I do not. Okay, Control V will not make sense because I without any copying. So what else is there? Control C. Yeah, Control X. right? So probably if you click on Control X, usually it will cut the folder from there, right? So the robot is running now. Okay, I click on Control X. Yes, I can copy it and paste, right? So I can Control X anything, right? But now when I try to click Control X on this, it will tell you cannot cut that folder. Probably now we are trying to cut, so I have to change that this name. I say Control X. Sorry, I say Control X. It will not allow me to cut that folder, right? So you need to tell which specific item and what is the activity that you want to look for and what you are supposed to do after that. Okay, so there are three things. First thing is what is the activity that you are looking for? Is it like control or alt or shift, or what is the keyboard or the keyboard activity that you're looking for? And the other one is on which field or on which selector you are trying to block this or stop this. So you need to give these two items, and once you have these two configured properly, you will have to tell in this event handler what exactly do you want to do after finding this. So the role of this is to find out if this activity or if this keyboard keys have been pressed on this specific folder, and next what do you do after you find this activity. So here I'm just blocking that event in the first place, so I will not let that happen. And second, I can use a message box, I can have a log message, or I can have a mail trigger directly to the user telling or the owner of the process telling this file is not supposed to be clicked, but one of your users have tried doing this. So you can do all that stuff. So basically this event handler will be executed after an identifying this activity being executed. So just as in your click case also, you have your repeat forever true and false, you can do that. Okay, is that clear now with respect to keyboard activities? Yes. Any doubts on this? Okay. So now let's go ahead and see how do you block a complete left click or right click. So now if you see the robot, whatever I've designed will stop my right click only on this specific activity or this specific or this specific. Instead, I just want to disable the right click at all completely. Be it anything, I do not want the user to use the right click. So for that, you have something called monitor mouse. So here you are using on key press element or on click element. So you will look for the same thing, click, left click or right click, but on a specific element here. So if you see, you are trying to monitor the clicks of mouse only when you are trying to click on this, correct, or this. So basically you are picking an element and monitoring the mouse on this element only, that's all. But now if you see, if I, so okay, let us comment this out. So let me say I want to click monitor mouse, okay, and say I want to click on button left, I give an OK. That's it. So I use the mouse trigger, and then let me block that event. Okay, so here you do not have block events directly. Here you have event forward or event block. Eventually, actually, they both do the same thing. They just block the event from going forward, but the way they put this is different. There it was just a tick box. Here it's a drop down. So you say event block, so you don't allow that. And here you tell, sorry, you cannot use your mouse left click. Okay, so now let me run this. So this, by running this, we will run into a problem where I will not be able to stop the robot because my mouse's left click will be blocked. I'll have to use the keyboard shortcuts to run the program. I'm telling you in the first place, if you ever try this experiment, this will not allow, this will not take forward your buttons left click at all. So you will not be able to left click on anywhere on the screen using your mouse. So be careful. Okay. So now repeat forever is true. Let me save this and I'm running. Okay, robot is up. I am able to right click. Okay. Oh, I right click. I get these options, and then when I try left click on refresh, it tells, sorry, you cannot use your mouse's left click. I click OK. I cannot even click on OK, right? Because I need to use my left click to click on OK. So I use my enter. Okay. This is my OK. I click on OK. So these are the number of times that I have used left click. Okay, so now my left clicks, I cannot use my left click. I click this and get this message box. So now I want to stop my robot. So how do I do it? I go to my studio, click on F12. So F12 is the keyboard key, shortcut to stop your robot. So if you see, it has blocked your left click completely, even though it could be on your screen or anywhere or anything. It is just like your mouse's left click is not working at all. So just consider, if I do not give a message box here and I run this robot on somebody's system like this, and whenever he tries to left click, nothing happens because the event is blocked. I just can move my item there. So they would pakka think, it would look like your mouse left click is not working at all. So if you see, I left click how many times, it doesn't work. And the right click, it works. Yes, but my left click, no, it doesn't, because the event is blocked. So it is a bit tricky if you are not able, if you will not be able to stop this. Okay, stop the robot. And now my left click works. Right? Is that clear? So on your, so if you see, the small difference between these two is your left click is blocked only on a specific element or any specific selector. So here, if you see, if you go and check your properties of this mouse trigger, there is no selector at all. So it will not look for any specific item on which you are trying to left click or right click. It will just look if there is a left click or right click on the mouse itself. So this is an activity that will look for input console and see if there is a trigger for left click. It is irrespective, or it is not bothered about where you are trying to do it. It will not allow you to do it if you block the element. You can use this event forward always and have a message box telling, please don't use left click on mouse again. Mouse from next time. I can just use this message box and take the event forward. So when I set this event take to forward, when I run this, it will allow me to left click. So I can left click, but I'll get this message box every time I click. So please don't use left click on the mouse from next time. Okay. So every time I'm clicking on this OK, that is another trigger that it is doing. So I click here. So you will click on this close, and then you have this on OK, right? So it will not allow you to. So it will allow you to, happen that activity, or allow that activity to go forward, but you will be getting these message boxes. And then I click on execute. I'll get a message box. And then I click on stop. Okay. So now onwards, I can use my left click freely. Phew, it was really tough. Without using mouse's left click, it's almost like my hands are tied up, right? So this is how you monitor events. So you can block your right click also. It is very simple. Just change this attribute from mouse button left to mouse button right. And once you do that, use your right click, mouse from next time. That's it. So you can save and then run. So whenever I try to right click, I get this message box, right? So I say open, and then I say click on this close, and then I right click. I'll again have this message box coming up. Okay. So wherever I try to click on this right click, irrespective of what screen or what element or what activity, I click right click here, even then I get. So wherever I do this right click, so basically it is monitoring my mouse or the input to the system, and not the specific selector or specific area. Okay. So similar to your monitor events on mouse, you have your monitor keyboard also. So here I'll tell do not use Control C anywhere. So now if you see, whenever you try to click on Control C, you will just have a message box. You are not allowed to copy. So now when you use this, so even you click, okay, let me comment this out, or else I'll get this functions also. So you can just write a small piece of code like this and say Control C and block that event. Yes, if the event is blocked, So I'm looking for control and C, and now you will not have to specify where do you want to look for control and C. Okay, you just have to look for control and C. And save and then run. So now when I try to click control C on something, you will directly get this message. Okay, not able to copycat. You will click control C on this, you will get this. So you will not be allowed to use control C anywhere on your screen or on your system. So basically the control C coming in from your input console to your system is where it is blocked. So that activity is not taken forward. Okay, is that clear? Probably this should be pretty straightforward if you understand the earlier one. Yes, any doubts on this? So similar to just as how we had our image automation, if you remember in one of our classes, we have seen instead of using click elements, we have been using click icons, correct, or click images. So we were showing the images where it has to click, right? So similarly, you can also use to monitor the click events on the screen if you're not able to extract the selector properly and you do not want a particular person to click on one specific area. Okay, so let me say for an example, let me open a browser. And let me go to Google, which is your pretty common page. You do not want the user to click on this image, right? Screenshot. I'll just show you how this works. Okay. So now, so we have seen all the key press and mouse press events. So now let us go ahead and see your on click image, right? So let me select this particular image. So if you see, I am selecting this part from your browser. It is not from on screen. Instead, it is a browser. So when you have a click image or button left click on this, you want the user to tell, hey, don't or do not click on it, right? Okay, you save this and let me say, okay, you can repeat this forever. There's no point. So you can block this also. Okay, you run this robot. So I click here. I'm doing left click. You get this message. I click twice. I'm getting it again. So I click here again. I get a message. So now if you see, it is able to see this Google image here, right? So let me close this browser. So there is no more Google image. Let me open this capture. Okay, say photos. We have this Google image here. Now when I try to click here, okay. So now I'm trying to click here. Okay, it should work even here. Why not? I left click on this. This should allow me to. This should prompt me telling you cannot click here. Okay, let's go back and debug. Why is it not working? Okay. Oh, we have a target. Let's see. I'll select what is this. Google. Okay. So this. I click on this. On. Okay, let me try on my Internet Explorer if it works at least on there. Okay, I remove that, it doesn't work anywhere. Okay, nice. So let me pull back our selectors. Okay, and now run this. So here it looks for this image. It works. So let us open another field and go to the same page. Oh, that's it. This Google.co.in page, you click here and it will not allow you. Click here, not allow you. Right? So basically this image, click image is not purely image because I'll tell you the problem with that. It is a combination of both your image as well as your target. So if you are just using a click image, here if you see the selector would be far, probably we have seen this earlier also in our earlier classes. So if you see the tag that you have here is your HTML page and a control ID and the tag, right? So if you are using click image, then you would have at least one tag lesser than this. Probably this end tag should not be there. So let us go and see that. So this is your click image trigger. So go to your selector and you see the image, the tag is different. So here the tag is just a div, that is a division, and then it says LGA and Google. Right. So what this is, this should be one step broader in perspective of the hierarchy corresponding to your just a click image or just a click activity. So this would be a combination of both your image as well as your selector. So you can also reduce if you want the code to work within a robust nature. You can reduce your accuracy here. So basically, what it does is it will take this image, whatever image you have captured using this click image, and it will try to map with all the available crops of that size on the screen, right? So once it finds that on the screen, it will just mark the area that it is here, and whenever you try to click on that area, it gives you a message box. So now, what is the accuracy that it has to see, or what is the perfection that it has to see to match your input image to your actual image that is available there? So the regular or the by default accuracy given is 0.9. We can reduce this to 0.2 or 0.3, but your accuracies would be really low, right? Okay. So you can give your accuracy there. So this is the field that will handle your piece of accuracy or your actual code's reliability. So if you are pretty sure that there are not many of similar images on the same page, just like as our Google page here, so then you can directly use this accuracy to even lesser value, something like 0.5, and then also it should work. So I click here, works, works. So because since I have one single image there, and nothing else, it works even with lesser accuracy. But with lesser accuracy, the speed will be improved. Okay. So our user events clear to everyone. This is one piece of separate thing that we have in the UiPath. Yes. Any doubts? So you have 5 specific or important parts here. One is understanding the click on click element. So this will monitor your mouse activity on a specific element, and on key press element is also the same. It will monitor your keyboard or keystrokes on a particular element. On click image, so it uses image as your major point of interest to monitor rather than just a selector, and monitor mouse. So this is irrespective of the field or the element. So it does not require a selector at all because it is not looking at a particular element. So it will just block your or monitor your mouse activity wherever it could be. So it will just monitor the input coming from your mouse and then take action. So this is the difference between your monitor mouse and on-click element. Although both monitor for your left click, right click, and middle click, this is dependent on one specific element or one specific icon, whereas this monitor mouse is a global level, is at global level. Okay, and monitor keyboard also does the same. So that is the same difference that you have as your click and monitor mouse. So on key pressing element, you will block on a specific element alone. Whereas monitor mouse, it looks at the level of input from your console to your CPU. Okay. So any positive input that it sees, so it would stop or recognize that there is an activity and go forward. So this is also not dependent on any of your selectors. Instead, it is a global level. Okay, is that clear? So if we had been continuing classes without breaks, it is 1 month with today as what we have started. So, but because of many disturbances, accordingly, we were not able to do. So we are done with user events now, and the important things that we are yet to see are this orchestrator. So that will take one lecture, and one screen scraping and data scraping, and also your FTP and database. So these are the pending items for our course. And also probably today I'll send you all a mail with a small these assignments kind of thing, which will almost require all the classes knowledge that we have completed covered till now, except for screen scraping and data scraping, which I would mention in the questions or the assignments. So I would recommend everybody to go back and try them and come up with questions, because probably next week would be the last week that we will have for completion of this course. Is that clear? So that would be a chance for you to go through all the concepts that we have seen and try and implement them and come back with questions if you have any at any point of time. And also one day I would walk through all the available activities that we might have missed, but which will be helpful for you. So we will also do that. Okay. Any questions? So we have the next part as screen scraping and data scraping. So the screen scraping is cognitive functionality of this UiPath. So what does the screen scraping do? So if you try to read a file which is not in the text format, so let us say if you have a text file to read, it is very easy, right? You can just use a read file and it can extract all the text that is available in this. But what is the problem with text that is not in the text format, or data which is not in the text format? Like, so what are those cases? So let me say you have a and search for okay. So you have this particular image and save it on the desktop. Save this, right? So you have this particular image, but this is all text. We know that. So this is volume. This is November 23, and this is number one. This is Harvard Law Review, and all this contents, right? But when you try to extract information from this, you cannot use a read text, right? Because this is in a .jpg format, yeah, .png. So you cannot extract information from this. So what do? We use screen scraping. So what does it do? You can scrape a part of the screen or a small region of the screen and try to use the tools that are actually really helpful for extracting text from images. So how is a tool able to extract text from images? So what it has done is it is trained using a lot of machine learning algorithms where it will see a lot kind of alphabets, and they are trained to recognize as alphabets, their respective alphabets. So for example, if you give this H alone to your OCR, which is called optical character recognition, it would give me an output telling this is a H, this thing. So our AIPath also does the same thing, but it has OCRs available from Google and IBM. So those OCRs are developed basically from Google and IBM, and we are able to import those modules and use them. So this is where artificial intelligence is in contact with our RPA. Though this is not a big stretch or big move, but this is the initial or the first step, we can say. So how do you do that? So I'll also tell you the advantages and drawbacks of this. So now I will have to select this part. Okay. So now if you see, it has took 39 milliseconds for the screen scraping. So it has actually done the screen scraping completely. And then it is asking for your scraping method. Is it full text or native or OCR? So when you click this OCR, it will give you an options to select the OCR engine. So these are the Google. Oh, they have replaced the IBM's one with Microsoft. Okay. So there are three different ways of extracting information. If it is just a text file and you want to extract it as from image, then you can use your full text. So let us try this and refresh and say finish. So what is the text that it has extracted? So it says list viewer flip view, and let us try to message box that. So now let us run this. So if you see, it was able to extract only a small piece of it actually. So it says it is extracted only capture.png. That's it, and nothing else. Why? Because we are trying to use an improper text extractor, right? So we are using full text, but is the image really a full text? So does this completely have text? No, it doesn't. So that is the problem. So the screen scraping is an initial step towards this thing, but it is not really reliable. So we don't actually encourage people to use this. But the hope is that going forward, these OCRs will become really better and give us reliable results. So people expect us to have good understanding of these. Oh, sorry. Okay. So now let us try using a different screen scraping method. So let us click on this and say a region. I want only this small region. So extract text only from this region. So we will use an OCR. Okay. So what is the scale? Probably that we have is 8. So if you see, the text that is generated is Harvard Law Review. Is that correct? So we have given this particular region to extract text, right? And I have set the scale to be 8. That is approximately, probably it is actually 14. It's not 8, but it is very close by. So this OCR is really reliable, right? So if you see, it is particularly given as Harvard Law Review. That is exactly is what here. So let us try to take a different region. So let us try to extract text from this the Supreme Court. So it is able to extract the text as the Supreme Court. It is able to, right? So this is because this Google OCR is actually trained on lakhs and lakhs of such text regions and their particular labels, and it is able to extract information. Okay, is that clear as how do we use this screen scraping method and what is OCR? Probably it's too much for you to understand a single time. So probably I'll also give you a deep understanding of how these OCRs work, which is an extra information which is not required from the UiPath perspective, but it is good to know as you might need to use it and you will understand where it might fail and to which thing to use at which point. So any questions so far? If there are no questions, then probably we can close the session for today. Yes? No? Clear? Did not understand anything? Okay, so cool. So then let's catch up on probably Monday. And also, I'll just make sure that Teja sends the mail with the attachment for the assignment. I would just want most all of you to try that and come up with questions which you are not able to do with the existing knowledge, and then we will see why has it gone that way and what more needs to be done, or where do you have to practice? Okay, is that clear? Okay, thanks for joining, and see you all on Monday again. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.